You are listening to the SDSU podcast, presented by the East Village Times, with your host, Andre Hagberdian. Welcome, listeners, back to another episode of the SDSU podcast. I am Andre Hagberdian. Want to welcome you guys all back to the podcast. San Diego State basketball, unfortunately, their season is over earlier than I think everybody expected. Given the high expectations this season, they did not make the tournament. They lost in the championship game of the Mountain West Conference tournament to Utah State. Didn't get the automatic bid. Was one of the first four out. Actually, I think they were third team out of the first four out. And they don't get to play anymore. They declined a bid to play in the NIT for various reasons, as Brian Dutcher put out in a statement that I think you can find on social media or of the sort. But San Diego State football is right around the corner. Spring practice starts on Monday, March 23rd. First practice of 15 for the football team to reacclimate to each other. The players that return get to know the new players, whether they're transfers, junior college players, or some of the incoming freshmen who were our early enrollees, graduated high school early, and are here for the spring to get a head start on learning the playbook and getting up to speed. So exciting times. Obviously, coming off a 9-win season. Over expectations. I think the over-under was about 6 wins for this team last year. Might have even been 5. And they hit 9. They obviously had a chance to play in the conference championship game. Lost out after losing to New Mexico in overtime and then losing out on the tiebreakers and the computer metrics. And Sean Lewis looks to reload. You know, they lost some key players, either to graduation or the transfer portal, but they brought in a lot of guys, a lot of talented guys, and they're looking to reload. So keep an eye on that. I did put out an article on eastvillagetimes.com about some things to watch during spring camp, about some of the position competition and some of the players that they need to replace, so the production that they need to replace, and who's going to fill those roles. So a lot to look at. There will be a spring game this year on May 2nd on campus at San Diego State, not at Snapdragon. So a lot going on over these next, I would say, 6 weeks. There is a spring break in between, I think, week 1 and week 2 of spring camp. So that's why 5 weeks turns into 6 weeks overall. But yeah, we'll see how things shake out by early May. But keep it tuned here on the podcast and to eastvillagetimes.com for coverage of that. This particular episode, though, is a little bit of looking at recent players or looking at recent player. Eric Butler, who was a safety at San Diego State for the last 4 years, spent all 4 years at San Diego State, is graduated or will be graduating, and is now looking at the NFL. And he participated in Pro Day last week. He was one of 13 San Diego State Aztecs who participated in Pro Day in front of NFL scouts from a lot of almost every team in the league. And they're looking to propel their NFL career or professional football career with what they can do in workouts, interviews, pro day, obviously. So yeah, Eric was kind enough to join us during this busy time of preparation for him. So we appreciate that. And yeah, we talked a lot about what he's been working on and how his pro day went, and then reminisce about some of his best Aztec moments over the last 4 years. So it was cool to get to know him. We didn't really hear a lot from Eric from the media side. in terms of press conferences and interviews and things like that. So it was cool to talk to him and hear from him about kind of how his career and how his Aztec life went. So yeah, let's get to the interview with Eric Butler. We want to welcome Eric Butler, San Diego State Aztec for Life, to the SDSU podcast. What's going on today, Eric?
What's going on? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you spent 4 years at San Diego State, which is rare these days to have a player, an all conference caliber player, stay at one school. And we obviously want to talk about those years, but more recent stuff is obviously you spent the last couple months training for a professional football career. Last week was pro day, which you partook in. Um, how has this kind of lead up to pro day, and how do you think pro day went?
I'm not gonna lie to you, Andre. The lead up was pretty stressful. I was down in South Florida for the past 2 months, right after New Year's, just training, and it was a great experience. I was training with a lot of good guys, a lot of great talent down there, from all over the country in the same draft class as me. So that was pretty cool to meet new people, new faces, and but yeah, it wasn't easy training, so. That pro day, seeing the numbers that I wanted to see after all that hard work was really fulfilling, really rewarding. So,
What was kind of the feedback you got, if you got any feedback from any of the scouts that were there?
I got a lot of feedback from a number of scouts. They were all saying that they're
Mhm.
impressed with me. So, mm,
Well,
yeah.
there was 13 of you from San Diego State there before DBs, and you guys did some position drills. It was you, Deshaun McEwen, Chris Johnson, obviously, and Bryce Phillips. After the position drills, the four of you kind of had like a little hug. It kind of felt like obviously happiness, but a relief as well. Can you kind of talk about that moment and like the bond the four of you have kind of built together?
Well, the first thing, it was just like that was our last time on the field all together, just putting in work. So like it was a great feeling, like kind of bittersweet, and also
Mhm.
that put like the cherry on top of the whole pro day itself. We
Yeah,
all performed where we wanted to. Nobody was disappointed really with their performances. So it was just a release from all that pressure of pro day itself,
yeah,
and then just that being like the last time we're all gonna be on the field working together. So
yeah.
bittersweet.
I mentioned that you spent all 4 years at San Diego State, which is rare. You had three other people. We mentioned Chris, but you had Ross, Ulugala Masuli, and Christian Jones, who also partook in senior night. And all four of you were guys who spent their whole careers at San Diego State. Did you guys talk about that during that process and on senior night about how it's, rare and how special it is to be in that, group?
We definitely talked about it, not so much senior night, but like
Yeah.
the year like after portal closed, and we were like, oh yeah, we came here, we're gonna leave this program better than the way we got it, and that was really like the goal,
Hmm.
and we achieved it with this past football season. So yeah, that was really when we were like, okay, we're gonna be Aztecs for life. We gotta leave this place better than where we got it.
Yeah. When you speak into getting feedback from scouts, what is kind of the big area, what strength do they see in your game that they think can translate well to the NFL?
I'll say the biggest strength that's from all around is my versatility. Like I've all of my junior year season is pretty much in the post at free safety, and then
Hmm.
all of this past senior season, some post reps, but mainly in the box and guarding slots. So just I could play anywhere really. That and big special teams, obviously. That's what I've been hearing. That those two things.
Yeah, that's actually two further questions I had later. You mentioned it, so let's talk about that. Um, your first 2 years when you were not a starter, you made your name in special teams. You blocked two punts. You're all over the field. And what was it about special teams that you took pride in? And as you mentioned, that's an area that could, NFL teams kind of like seeing
Yeah.
someone being able to do that. So talk a little bit about that.
I'll say that the special teams part of the game is very like overlooked. So especially being a young player like I was and not getting as much defensive reps as I wanted, I was like, I'm going to impact the game however I can, and I was on special teams. So that's why I went hard every play that I had on special teams. And continued to do so all the way to senior year.
Um, The move to nickel, I'm curious if that was something you brought up to the coaches brought up to you, and how that kind of came about. Because obviously, it showed you could do more and be more versatile, but also looked like it was a big part of the defense's turnaround.
Yeah, definitely. Coach Arch, as soon
Mhm.
as he was named defensive coordinator, I got a call maybe a week later. He was like, just telling me, "Hey, man, how's it going? I think we want to move you to nickel. Like, I think in my defensive scheme, like that's the spot where
Yeah.
we need you to do a lot of things at a high level." So he told me that, and I was like, "Yes, sir, coach. Put me wherever." You know what I'm saying? So I'll do my job. And then that was it was a bit of a learning curve, like in spring ball coming from the post, and I played quarterback my whole life, so I wasn't too familiar with like the fits. Like I'm pretty much a linebacker in certain
Yeah.
formations, certain calls. So that took some getting used to and some learning. Was Coach R sat me down and got some extra time in and got all that situated. It made me a better player today for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and slot receivers in college get a lot of notoriety because it's usually the fast guy and usually a guy who matches up against someone that's maybe not a good cover guy, and that's where they get a lot of yards. But like, if you go back and look at all the slot receivers that you guys played this year, I don't remember anyone really having a big performance. So how much pride do you take in being someone that, could shut down a big part of another team's offense?
That's one of my favorite things to do is just take somebody who's killing everybody else, doing what they want to other
Mhm.
defenses, and just guarding them. It doesn't even score a touchdown or barely has
Yeah.
40, 50 yards. So that's one of my biggest things that I take pride in for sure is my cover skills.
What did you enjoy playing more? Playing nickel or playing more of a free safety?
I actually got this question from some scouts on Monday in a Zoom. It's like I like both.
Mhm.
There's pros in both positions. I like being free safety. I'm able to just make plays with my instincts, and I love running down in the alley, full head of steam, just me in the ball carrier. It's my favorite tackle to make. And nickel, I just like I said, I love covering guys too. That's something that I didn't get to showcase as much as I wanted to
Mhm.
junior year. That I was glad I was able to this year for sure.
What we talked about, kind of what areas the scouts like about you. Is there a particular area where they've where they wanted you to kind of improve and grow in?
It depends by team. Some teams haven't even specified that yet, but
Got it.
yeah, probably free safety though. Probably free center field.
I mean, at the end of where do you see yourself, maybe not by team, but when the draft comes and goes, where do you see yourself kind of landing ultimately? Is it when depending on what you're hearing from scouts?
Are you talking about like projected round or
Yes, yeah.
projected round? Probably late round to free agent.
Got it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, when you committed to San Diego State, um, I remember I chatted with you via text, and I asked you about, why San Diego State. You talked about the coaching staff, the culture. But you said I can see myself being there for the next 3 to 5 years. Well, you spent 4 years there, all 4 years. You're a graduate. So what was that journey like from committing, signing, and then fulfilling those 4 years?
As you know, the first 2 years of my career here were a little shaky. We weren't the best.
Hmm.
Freshman year was a great experience. Like I said, didn't redshirt, so I got to travel with the team and make plays on special teams and impact the game any way I could.
Right.
Um, and those first 2 years, that staff that really instilled some discipline in me that I didn't have before.
Hmm.
So I think that's a huge like stepping stone in my not just career but life. With that staff on like how to be a young man. So that I'll take away from. And then junior and senior year, I would just take away like helping rebuild something. You know,
Yeah.
junior year, new coach, new everything, 50 something new players, just like reestablishing the culture. And yeah, senior year just achieving the goal that we wanted.
So when that coaching staff change happened, was your mindset of like, oh, I'm excited about the new staff coming in? Like a lot of people would, enter the portal or thought about entering the portal. What was your, thought process through obviously staying and being part of that rebuild?
First thing I'll say is because Coach Sumler was
Yeah,
set, so he was going to stay, and that was really the guy that
yeah,
recruited me here, even though he never coached me like directly,
right.
always coaching me still. Um, so that played a huge part, probably me staying that, and just most of the guys were staying also. So
Yeah. Do you have a favorite Aztec football memory?
I could choose a number from this past year. This year was by far my most fun year at San Diego State. Um, I'll say most memorable was my freshman year though, because we went to Hawaii Bowl. That was my first time in Hawaii, and it was just a great experience. So a
Yeah.
lot of tough was there with the guys. So
What about favorite play that you made or maybe you're on the field for?
my favorite play, even though even though we were losing last year, my junior year to UNLV away, uh, it was like we were down like 20 something, 27, I want to say. They were
Hmm.
driving, they got down to the one and they did quarterback sneak and I jumped over and punched the ball out.
Hmm.
That's probably my favorite play from my college career.
I thought maybe you would say the pick six at Wyoming.
Yeah.
Is that up
That's
there too?
that's top. That's top. That's probably second. I'll give that one second.
Yeah, I mean, that was your only interception and you returned it for a touchdown. That's pretty impressive. What do you remember from that play? I think it was an out route that you jumped,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. We actually got the call in late. If you look back at it, like me and Chris are like I was next to Chris. Me and Chris was like, what's the play? What's the play? Confused. They snapped the ball. We just latched onto our man. We didn't even talk. We just played man and seen him go out. So I undercut it, and the quarterback hesitated. So
Yeah. One of um One of the first, defensive moments that I remember from your game, from your career, was a Boise State game your sophomore year.
I was just gonna say this is probably second, just
I
because,
mean, I
yeah,
think you had 8 tackles, you had 2.5 tackles for loss, you had a sack, all over the place, and that was obviously a bad in for San Diego State. I think Boise State kind of won that game handily, but like your presence on that field, at least with bringing down the quarterback, making tackles. Do you kind of consider that as your like coming out moment as a defender?
that's what I was gonna say. That play and that game in particular is probably like second favorite college memory,
Yeah,
just because I only played half of that game too, by the
yeah,
way. Just because that was like my sophomore year and I was dealing with kind of like confidence issues. Like, do I really belong here? Like, do I have what it takes to really go to the next level? And that game really just like proved to me that I belong and that I could do anything that my mind sets on. So
yeah. No,
it
that's
was in my career, definitely.
do you have a favorite teammate in your 4 years?
Teammate, I'll probably say Chris or Owen Chambliss.
Got it.
Yeah.
Chris, obviously, I believe you had a connection with him in high school or growing up, right? You guys played
Yeah, I've known him since middle
together.
school, like
Yeah.
middle school, elementary school. We're from the same city, so
what do you think about his rise, as someone that could be potentially drafted on day one,
I'm proud of him, man.
at least
Proud of
by
him.
day two?
Yeah, he deserves it. He deserves everything that's coming for him, everything that's going on for him. So proud of him.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
In terms of your favorite like road stadium or environment that you played in, do you have a particular one you that comes up to mind?
I would say my freshman year when we played Utah away, and
Hmm.
at the time they were like, I mean, they might have lost one game. They were
Yeah.
on the road, so the whole city, wherever, whatever city that is, they all came out. Everybody was there. I remember on the opening
Salt Lake
kickoff.
City. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember on the opening kickoff. I'm a freshman. This is one of my first games. I swear that the floor was shaking. The turf, the grass was shaking. That's how loud that they got on the opening kickoff. I was like, okay, this is real. This is
I,
real.
I actually was at that game. I was covering that game. And I was in the press box. And the press box, they actually have like a window or glass that covers it,
Yeah.
so you don't hear
Mhm.
it as well. But it was still loud. So that made me think like, okay, wow, I can only imagine if I was on the field or sitting in this crowd closer to the field, how loud it was. But yeah, that was an impressive environment for sure.
A lot of false starts that game. That's what I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned Rob Arich, and him having the conversation, moving to nickel. He was obviously a big part of the defense's turnaround, being a top 10 defense. Um, what was it about him, other than moving you to nickel, being that smart guy, that kind of set that defense up last year?
He is Coach R's always put everybody in the best position possible. He is probably the best defensive coach I've ever been around, for
Hmm.
sure. So that all the accolades that this defense got this past year that's Coach R's for sure.
Yeah, what do you think about his move to Nebraska and bringing Owen with him and see what he can do at that level?
Um, I think it's probably a good move for him. So can't blame him. Yeah.
What about you mentioned Demetrius Sumler and in the reason, keeping you here, but now he's a defensive coordinator. How excited were you when you found that out? You don't get to play for him, obviously, as a defensive coordinator, but seeing him do and show what he can do at that position.
I think it's great that Coach Sums finally getting the opportunity to be a defensive coordinator. I know he's wanted to for a while, so that's it's a blessing for him. Proud of him too.
The one of the things about in my role in covering the team is I get to meet, people, players like you, obviously some parents too. So I've gotten to know your dad a little bit over the years. A really good guy, passionate guy, loves obviously, his son loves football. What has he meant to your football journey, potentially coaching you as a kid and kind of seeing you through um, to where you are now?
No, my dad is a huge reason why I'm even in a position to go to San Diego State.
Mhm.
Um, Always just developing me in any way he could, and yeah, putting me in the right places, right, putting me in front of the right people to just be successful. And just yeah.
He always says he's your biggest critic. Is that how is that criticism, from your dad, and talking to him about that stuff?
No, it's definitely always keeping me like humble, making sure that I don't get settled or don't get comfortable for sure.
Yeah.
He'll just call me
Mhm.
randomly throughout the day. What you doing? Did you work out? Did you get better today? Blah blah blah. So always keeps me pushing, keeps me going. So
Nice.
yeah,
Last part of the interview is like our rapid fire section. It's some questions about kind of non-football stuff for our listeners and our viewers to get to know you. You ready for that?
yeah.
What's your favorite food?
Favorite food, sushi.
Okay. Do you have a favorite spot in San Diego?
It's called Coochie Sushi.
Oh yeah, is that the one right by the stadium?
There's multiple.
There you go. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
been to that one, yeah. What about favorite musical artist?
Ooh, all time Michael Jackson or Kanye West. That's two in that order.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson, old soul, right there.
Yeah.
Um, Favorite movie?
Oh, favorite movie. I'm gonna go Interstellar or Wolf of Wall Street.
What about TV show?
TV show. Oh, I'm gonna go Snowfall.
Oh yeah, that was a good one. Um, that was definitely a good one. Favorite hobby when you're not playing football? What do you like to do?
Favorite hobby. I say video games. Video games.
You have a favorite game?
Um, all time Call of Duty.
Did you play the football game that came out last year? Have you played that? Play as yourself?
Oh yeah, definitely. All
Yeah.
the time. Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Last one, favorite professional athlete. It could be all time or current.
Ooh, 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 ooh. I say growing up, it was definitely Cam Newton.
Hmm.
Right now, LeBron James. I say LeBron James.
I know you grew up in like Imperial County area. You went to Centennial. Did you
Yeah,
have a favorite football team, NFL team growing up?
I did. I liked the Broncos for a long time, and then I was a Lamar Jackson fan, so I started liking the Ravens.
Got it.
Yeah,
Wait.
sadly. Switched right when the Broncos were getting good. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it switches because every couple years you got teams. I mean, even the Ravens were pretty good for a few years and then had a down year this year, but it flips around. Um, Eric, I appreciate you taking the time. Good luck to you on your journey for the NFL, wherever it leads you. Appreciate you taking the time. Appreciate your years as an Aztec, and wish you the best of luck.
Thank you so much, Andre.
All
Thanks for
right,
having
man.
me.
Thank you. You are listening to the SDSU podcast, presented by the East Village Times, with your host, Andre Hackverdian.